We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With cruise control. We are nothing sacred.
Oh, yes, bitches. This is something you never thought you'd see.
Oh.
Nothing Sacred teams up with the Minnyvan Musician Podcast. I'm Maxwell Silverhammer.
And I am Cruise Control, and we have Don and Danielle from the Minnyvan Music. That's how it goes? Minnyvan Music Podcast?
Minnyvan Musician.
Minnyvan Musician, same
yeah.
shit.
Hey, what are you going to do? Anyways, welcome to the Nothing Sacred Minnyvan Musicians Collab oration celebration.
Yes.
Once again, I'm Cruise Control. We've got Don and Danielle. So I guess Max is you guys are the ones who brought us together, because I usually just follow Max around, and he goes, hey, we're doing this interview, and I'm like, okay.
I love it, man. That's what I do.
So tell us the gist of your podcast and what you guys focus on and do on your stuff.
All right, she wants me to tell you. Basically, it just started out because I'm a hip hop artist, so it started out as kind of documenting. I'm a little bit older. I got a family, a regular job, all of this kind of stuff to juggle, and I feel like there's a lot of people in that same boat. So we're just kind of documenting that. Like, look at how you can utilize your time and get so much, of this entertainment thing done despite having a regular life, and tips for artists and all that kind of shit. But it just kind of like evolved into something else. It got more into more serious topics. Mm-hmm. Maybe I just, ran out of shit to say about myself. I don't know.
He's boring.
He's boring.
He's boring. Oh, shit. Now the truth comes out, huh?
So I take it the Minnyvan Musicians has come almost like you're like basically like soccer mom musicians type thing, like Minnyvan. Is that what it kind of means? Like everyday musicians, like you're a musician if you're also living the normal like family life.
Yeah, it's like I still do street hop, about as grimy as it gets. So it's kind of like a weird juxtaposition, I think.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people like just it's kind of similar,
Right.
It's more realistic. People just don't want to admit that they're actually, a normal person. They just want to put off this persona of being this hip hop guy, and it's like, okay, well, most of y'all I know, and you all have normal lives, so stop acting.
Not normal lives. You got bum ass lives.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
worse than normal.
It's like they're talking.
Smacked the shit out of you before.
They're talking shit in their home studio, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm hardcore," and all of a sudden the baby starts crying, so they have to do it.
Right. Like, it's okay to admit that, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Social media has actually changed that now, because I've seen guys upset about girls and fuck that bitch, and getting their little feelings hurt, and stuff like that. So we actually have a mutual friend that's done that a couple times, I believe, on Facebook.
Right. No pun intended.
Not a friend anymore.
No, not really. But I mean, yeah, it's an emotional. It shows you. I mean, this is like a deep way of looking at it, but it shows you how an entire generation didn't have fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, it's like disrespectful or politically incorrect as that sounds. I can say it because I didn't have one either. I used to be an emotional fucking baby too. Some people don't grow up. That's
Interesting. They behave like the bitch that raised them. That's interesting.
Well,
yeah, basically.
Well,
I think
I kind of had a theory about that. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Now that you mentioned this, is that this society is ruled by emotion now. Everything is emotion. Like all these idiotic, like banners all over the place, like this virtue signaling. It's all about emotion. Like these companies with their logos and their political pandering. Our politicians do it all the time. Like writing. I'm sorry, but the government shouldn't be condoning writing any political messages on any streets.
no, absolutely not.
I don't give a damn what the message is. If the message is, I'm not a huge Trump supporter either way. But the point is, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's Trump is lovely, if it was fucking, pro-choice, pro-life, whatever. It doesn't matter. That shit shouldn't be written by anybody and condoned because it focuses on a political belief system.
Asking for people to fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give a little bit of credit to Jordan Peterson on this one for kind of working through like something I couldn't figure out when it comes to this. Or not couldn't figure out, but he explained it better. So basically, I'm admitting I'm stealing it. But, you have your equality, which is what we strive for. But they want equality of outcome.
Equity, yes.
Yeah, equality of outcome is preposterous. What you're seeing is that we are, quote unquote, making up for ills of the past. And that's a ridiculous concept because, number one, that undoes every positive thing that we've done to naturally work toward that. And personally, on a social level, I think we've achieved more in a couple hundred years than most civilizations did in thousands of years. Actually, more than anyone on Earth ever had.
Well, shit, look at China. China's the oldest civilization in the world, and they have slaves, and they are actually persecuting a group called the Uyghurs right now. And no one's talking about any of that shit, but that's a whole different can of worms. But the point is, Western ideals have allowed people to thrive, and Western ideals have allowed people to whine about the stupidest shit because we're so fucking pampered in this country.
Oh, that brings me to a Don Verb point. Something he said in the podcast. This is the part where you said everybody's too comfortable with their own technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just they're comfortable in general. What I mean by that is you'll hear some older guys say the phrase, they're like that because they never had a war. Meaning that generation has never had the kind of adversity that kind of, for lack of a better explanation, toughens you up, makes you resilient, gives you purpose. That's the important thing. They're running around without purpose, and this may not have anything to do with it, but the testosterone level on average has dropped more in the last 50 years, I think, than it did. No, I mean, literally.
This is
I know.
It's true. And the science is backing this up. It's crazy.
It's true.
So, I mean, you got young men running around who, number one, didn't have anybody basically to teach them to be a man. Number two, it is almost like these identity politics people where they damn near aren't a man. They're like something in between.
Masculinity is looked down upon.
And their lives are a little bit too easy.
Yeah.
Less manual labor, easier access to things, no war, no real civil rights fight.
Mm-hmm.
By the time they came of age, I mean, let's be honest. Is there really some serious civil issues going on in the U.S. right now? And I believe no. I don't think that they've actually. I mean, imagine these kids lived in I don't know, man, 1970.
Shit, imagine them living in Africa right now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right. Flies on your face and shit. Oh yeah,
right. Or North Korea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They go well, and this is why they're so like with all the COVID shit. They're totally cool with being appeased. It's okay. I'll stay home. We can do our virtual platform. Now with the games, they're doing this thing with the baseball games. You guys heard about this where they're using the cutouts?
Dude.
Oh God, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, what's screwed up about that is that, and I mean, we kind of talked about this, and it's been in motion since around 1980. There's this whole radical left thing that started with professors, and it's worked its way into every entertainment, all of that. But what it leads to is this overall feeling of the government will do everything. It's Marxism. It's basically what it is.
Yeah.
The government will take care of it. I trust them. They're the same people that complain that they're always lied to and shit. But I don't trust them. And like you said, they become appeased with, oh, I'm going to get this check, and oh, I can do this from home, and oh, it's just the new normal.
Yep.
Everybody's got to pitch in. It's like, nah, fuck you. I don't want to pitch in shit.
No, they just fall in line with everybody else who says all that stuff, and they're like, oh, everyone's saying this, so I'm just going to fall in line with it too, because it's the right thing to do. You're a bad human being. You don't care about others.
You don't care about grandma. You don't care about grandma unless you're protesting Black Lives Matter. Then you can go out and be as close to each other as you want to.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Don't go to a Trump rally.
Yeah.
No Trump rallies,
or anywhere else. But
if you want to do Antifa,
throw a brick through a window and call it a peaceful protest, that's great. You can do that.
yeah.
Right.
My favorite is when our piece of shit, and I'll call her that, our piece of shit governor,
Oh, she's horrendous.
the locked everything down in a nearly tyrannical and also petty way. Like, I'll get you guys. You're not following orders.
What are you guys in Michigan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I don't. That bitch. That bitch.
The next day, this bitch is on fucking TV with 4 black dudes surrounding her, like marching.
Oh,
and like,
down the streets of Detroit.
no
like,
masks on.
hands.
No masks on.
Yeah.
Holding hands, hugging and shit. This bitch is a couple hours off of telling us all we're killers for not wearing a mask.
When we protested against that stuff at the Capitol, we were killing everyone and we were horrendous people. We don't give a fuck about anybody else. But if you're, standing next to each other screaming Black Lives Matter, you guys know. I don't know if you were aware of that, but now you know, in case you didn't know.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And something I'll add, because I'm an asshole and I'm politically incorrect. When she was standing there taking the photo ops with like the 4 or 5 black guys surrounding her, like, I don't know, man. Like, it looked like something else.
Like a gang rape or something, maybe?
Oh, Jesus.
It looked like its own category, is what it looked like.
We were cheating.
There should be some porn music in the background and like some pizza delivery outfits on them, right, or something.
I was looking for her husband to be sitting in the corner watching, like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Well, maybe he was filming. Maybe it was a filmed train that we're seeing.
See, that's the thing, though. It's the same kind of thing. She's sucking the dick of these people. She doesn't give a fuck about these people.
Exactly.
She doesn't fucking care, and especially she actually loves the authority, and she because they all do,
Yeah.
and they should. I'm sorry, your elected officials, once you're an elected official in office, should not be protesting for or against any political ideal in the streets like that, because you're reinforcing, because other people. Because you're a representative of all the people at that point as a government.
Right.
You're supposed to see all angles on all sides.
And I like that you guys see the whole pandering thing, because
Oh, God, yes.
I've always been side by side with a lot of minorities doing hip hop and just being in the streets and everything.
Right.
And I've always had cats that were close to me, and they took Malcolm X's words to heart, where he said something along the lines of, the only thing that we really have to fear is beware the white liberal that marches next to you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a book out there also called, what is it, Black Panther Reconsidered,
Mm-hmm.
or Black Panther Revisited, something along those lines.
I think.
That's a bunch of Panthers telling you, like, that this shit started, basically everything that we're dealing with right now that we're complaining about, it started at that time with white liberals basically piggybacking the black cause.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was a different cause, just like now, they moved on to something else.
As long as there's some kind of cause to victimize and get behind and make everyone seem like victim people.
Oh yeah, and
Right.
that's our society now.
Totally.
The
Yep.
victim is morally superior. Being a victim is morally superior than being like victims are the heroes now, which is the worst part. And the heroes used to save the victims. Now the victims are the heroes.
Heroes. Yeah, it's crazy.
See, I'll ask you guys a question. Like, I kind of have a person or a group of people in mind to answer this. Maybe Danielle has an idea. I honestly don't know. Who do you think the hero or heroes are that can at least pull us back from the fire of this? I mean, maybe not completely get us out of it, but at least from getting burned. We may still die from smoke inhalation, but at least get us away from the actual flames. Is there anybody out there that you think can do that?
Well, go ahead, Max. If you,
I was just gonna say, I think any conservative with some balls, that's willing to stand up against this shit. What were you gonna say, cruise control?
See, I don't know if necessarily it's conservative. I think it's just people that are actually have some common sense in the middle ground. Like you mentioned, Jordan Peterson, the intellectual dark web is what it's called. It's the old term.
Exactly who I'm going to say that my pick was that group of people.
Like Brett Weinstein, and he's got an idea called Unity 2020, which is really interesting. Brett, Max, you might want to check that out, as well as Don and Danielle. You may have heard it, but they are just reasonable voices. The problem is though that those reasonable voices are being demonetized and being forced out because it's so far. Our mainstream has become so far left, and believe me, it's all mainstream. There's no. Those people who say they're fighting for all these people's rights, you are the mainstream. You got all the corporations fucking Black Lives Mattering and virtue signaling and rainbowing all over the place for your little causes and your little victim
Right. So you're mainstream now.
bullshit. So you are actually the mainstream. The ones who are getting canceled or getting fucking bullied and are getting silenced, it ain't the LGBT Black Lives Matter feminist community. I'll tell you that much right now.
They're screaming 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, I think that now that you're saying all of this, you know, because like Mac suggested a conservative with balls, and I thought about that for a second. I had just watched Ted Cruz on Dave Rubin's show, and you know, Ted Cruz would be a good one, but I don't think that a conservative of any type resonates with, you know, swaying those moderate / almost radical lefties who basically run entertainment, run the media, run quote unquote journalism. So, I mean, and we're talking about the IDW. There's one person that I think links it all together that may be the only hope for our civilization. Not exaggerating saying that, and that's Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he's a
actually.
liberal, just like most of the IDW. Oddly enough, that you know, tried to call him far right, you know, whatever.
Oh no, well he's not. No, he was going to vote for Andrew Yang, I think it was, or somebody like that.
Right.
Or
Saying is that well, that's what they've tried to do. They've tried to. God, what is the damn name that they have for the far right?
What?
Oh, reactionary?
the alt-right.
Reaction.
No,
Alt-right?
what the alt right?
The
Okay,
alt-right, yeah.
Okay, I'll get this out clearly finally. Okay, so they tried to peg both Rogan, Dave Rubin, Tim Pool of all people, and Jordan Peterson as alt-right, and the entire IDW is alt-right, to where it's even written in the Wikipedia that they're accused of being that. I don't know, there's something like 22 people in that group, and 21 of them are fucking staunch liberal. Yeah. The only one that's conservative at all would be Ben Shapiro, who's called a Nazi, even though he's a Jew.
Yeah, that drives it. Dude, or
But I think Rogan's so important. He signed the biggest deal in podcasting history. He is the epitome of independent entertainment, alternative mainstream.
Hey guys,
He actually gives all of these people a platform that used to be lefties who are gaining sense and kind of coming towards the middle now. You know, and have some pull. Like a Tim Pool has pull on lefty.
Absolutely.
You know, Dave Rubin still does.
yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, if you guys are pulling away from your mics a little bit, it does get a little bit softer. So
Yeah.
just letting you
Kind
know.
of, you kind of go up and down a little bit.
So,
All right.
that's cool. I mean, you guys, thanks. Just letting you know. It's all good. But you're right, Dave. Joe Rogan would. The thing about Joe Rogan is he's great. He's great at getting the people together to actually have the conversations. In terms of actually having the ideas himself and the leadership that way. I don't know who could do it right now, because it certainly isn't Joe Biden. It certainly isn't, in my opinion, it's not Trump either. I don't like either one of them, quite honestly. I think Trump at least.
I don't think a president. I don't think a president makes the sway. This is the entertainment era, basically, of
Well, it's sure not Kanye West. He's out of his fucking mind.
Hey, man. Our pod just aired tonight at 10 o'clock, and it's all about Kanye.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Shameless plug. I like it, man.
I like it too. So it's all about now. See, here's the thing about Kanye, and this is why the media can't stand him. He is an eccentric dude, but he isn't following the yapping. Like, as a black person, he's an individual. Because that's what I think I can't fucking stand. When one person tries to speak for a group of people, like I'm visually impaired, and some motherfucker, like if Maxwell, we're both visually impaired. If Maxwell fucking came up to him and said, as a blind person, I'm like, motherfucker, you don't speak for me. Or as
the mother of autistic children.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah, that's another one. Like parents of disabled kids that try to speak for their disabled kids. It's like, or for the disabled populations in general.
Or
You know,
just anybody speaking for anybody else, because what you're doing is you're putting power, trying to put power behind it that you don't have. Like, as a woman, I can say, no, I know a lot of women who don't believe in the things you do. You can't speak for anybody else.
Say it as a complete fucking asshole.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna roll with that.
Yeah.
See, my thing with Kanye though is like, you know, I have the criticism that a lot of people have for Trump, for him, you know, that he does reckless dumb shit and says reckless dumb shit. You know, like Harriet Tubman never freed slaves; she just took them to work for more white people. You know, I was like, okay, where's the basis of that comment, man?
Like I have a theory on why he does that, and I go in depth with it on our pod. And I'll just say it like this: he's trying to bring people to a way of thinking that he just discovered. You got to understand, when you're bipolar and you're on that manic kick, and you're intelligent, creative, and have sway over people, you feel like you just discovered these secrets. You've been lied to your whole life by the left. You're supposed to be a victim, blah blah blah. You're taught this version of history. He starts finding things, and he becomes conservative, and he sees things differently. He feels like he can practically save his fucking people if he just gets to tell them that story. Now, how does he get their attention?
By being retarded.
He says that, I mean, you could say what he said there, but, you know, it's 10% right, and then there's 90% nuance and context.
Right.
But he leaves that shit out to pull you in. You think you're going to hear the rest of the Harriet Tubman thing, but instead you hear all about how you've been tricked and lied to by the left your entire life as a minority.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is he's really hyped up to teach people what he's learned.
He doesn't formulate his thoughts.
And his approach, he's narcissistic as hell.
Oh God, yeah.
So he doesn't give a fuck if he offends any institution or anything. And I mean, honestly, you're right, Max. That is like Trump. He says a lot of reckless shit and all of that, but I'll give Kanye a pass because all Kanye is a great artist. He's not supposed to represent the American people. And I'm not bagging on Trump, but I'm saying out of those two, I'm kind of like, all right, Trump needs to kind of toe the company line just a little bit.
See, for me, I like Trump. You know, I don't mind his recklessness. It's kind of funny because I think just Trump, it seems like he kind of thinks about what he says before he says it, where Kanye just...
I think that there's some method to his madness for sure. I do. But sometimes I think he just gets angry as well and just does whatever.
Spouts off.
I mean, I don't dislike him for that. I actually am a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump fan. Like, I'll make that clear. Meaning, you know, I don't agree with everything he does. I more or less vote for Trump in this election to keep this crazy radical left thing from going forward any further.
It's sad that we have to be in a situation like that. I mean, usually it is a situation where it's like you're voting for the lesser of the two evils and whatever your opinion is, and that sucks.
Yeah, I want to vote for Joe Jorgensen.
That's like
because that'll help Biden.
That's where the cult thing comes.
Wait, hold on.
Whoa.
You guys
are cutting out a little bit.
Are you putting the phone on a table or something, or is it what's going on there?
Service here. I don't know.
I don't think. I don't know if it may be the service. I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, you guys were kind of cutting out there for a second. What? Go back to your point.
It's not like you're cutting out. It's almost like you're getting away from the speaker or away from the mic on the phone. But go ahead and say what you're going to say.
I think that, you know, in a situation, it's sad that we're in a situation where you have to vote for, you know, what you feel is the lesser of two evils rather than vote for who really should be doing the job. But it kind of goes back to like what we were talking about in our podcast before about cults and cultism and how mainstream media is basically the cult right now. And
it's
stuck.
It's puritanical.
Everyone the fucking Kool-Aid and they don't realize
it's puritanical. I mean, you got people talking about like being an ally and white fragility and this crazy ass like weird like this original sin type shit for having a certain, you know, skin color or having to like be silent and listen, but then if you're not silent at the wrong time, then you're not speaking up, and it's all
right. Exactly. You can't win no matter what.
It's fear.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, they want you to fear being rejected by everyone, and they know they have the power, and they know they have the right to say what they want. There was a study that was interesting study that was done recently that showed that the only people who don't seem afraid to speak out are the ones like are the ones with far left leanings. Are the ones because they know they can say what they want.
Right.
They're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever
They're
wanna
never
say.
going to be kicked. They're embraced forever.
Actually, every thought that they come up with becomes a law.
Right.
I mean, for the not literally a government law, but I mean a law of culture.
Or a slogan painted on a street.
Yeah, slogan.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is, I kind of came like to a realization, and I touched on it in that that cult podcast. Now, as I've gone back and thought about it, you know, you have your cults and you have your cult of personality. This, if you look at the points of a cult of personality, like what that actually is defined as, it checks off America right now, the political / media / entertainment, you know, that whole thing checks off every single point of a cult of personality except the actual figurehead. And I kind of have a theory that in this strange instance, the figurehead doesn't matter because it's whatever celebrity or whatever person with some power fits that mold. And that's why this is the most powerful cult of personality or just cult in history, is because the second that, you know, that leader at the front of it for that month doesn't touch people the right way, they got another
Oh.
and they have the same look, they have the same way of speech, they have the same beliefs, they have the same salary. It's like 1 month it'll be Katy Perry, you know, like you know, the next week it'll be, you know, insert fucking, I don't know, Sarah Silverman,
Lady A,
you know.
or somebody.
Who?
Lady A, Lady Antebellum, who changed her name to Lady A.
No. Do you know that story? The whole story? How fucking white privilege that is? How
Yeah, you know what? I don't know the whole
Dude,
story.
okay,
What
this is
happened?
what happened. So Lady Antebellum decided to change their name for solidarity for Black Lives Matter and the you know the privilege, because Antebellum is an actual like a southern name for something. So I'm not sure exactly lady how it works, but there is an artist in Seattle named Lady A already. So and she's a black artist, right? So Lady Antebellum, who changed their name to Lady A to support the black community, sued Lady A to try to get her name taken away.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I didn't know.
Hold on, let me look it up. Let me make sure I'm saying. I don't want to say anything. Let me see. Lady A lawsuit or Lady A. Hold on.
Okay, Lady A. That's crazy.
Real quick. All antebellum means is before the war.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. It's not an American term. We adopted it
Yeah.
to talk about that time period that was before the Civil War, when the South was thriving and all that
There
kind
were
of stuff.
slaves, yes.
There were slaves, but to be honest, that's
didn't
not
have
really what
anything
it's
to do
about.
with that.
That's like saying World War or Germany before the war. You know, Germany antebellum. You know, before World War II. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're co-signing Nazis because that's who was in power then.
Right.
You're just talking about the damn country before it was fucking blown the fuck up. Like, before it was like.
Well, you know, you talk about pandering. Well, let's give our name more of a black name,
Yeah.
Lady A. You know, that's some.
Well, no, they just wanted to change, but then they sued a person who already has the name, and she's a black singer. It's hilarious.
Black.
That's
Wow.
What is Lady
That's
A's
okay.
case against the other Lady A? The band has filed a declaratory judgment lawsuit against blues singer Anita White over the name. Attorneys say the case rests on two tricky things: prior usage and scope. So, like, why would you, if someone already had the name?
Why are you going to sue to take it?
Oh,
That's like if
somebody
somebody.
in music, I'll tell you that scope part of it is scary. That the woman's probably going to lose. The scope basically means what is the how do I say this without it sounding like a scope basically means, in other words, your scope of influence, meaning if this band can touch 10 million people and, you know.
See, that's bullshit. That's
That is bullshit. So that's like, that'd be like if there was another big rapper named Don Verb who was on a major label like on Epic or Atlantic or something, and they're like, hey man, we're going to sue this Don Verb out of Michigan.
No, it's not like that. Because if there was a Don Verb, then that's all right. He's already a Don Verb. This is a band who changed their name.
Oh, yeah, no, you're Right.
They
Yeah.
just picked this name up.
And it
right.
says right here.
Like,
It says right here. Lady A was already someone else's name. A 61-year-old black singer in Seattle, Anita White, had recorded and performed music with it for decades.
oh my god.
You know what the best part about it is? She's from fucking Seattle.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, seriously, she's like right in the middle of all of this fucking bullshit.
Right.
That they're
And she's
pandering
black.
to.
And she's black. Like, this is just fucked up. I mean, how do you sit and rationalize any of that? You
Well,
know?
It's like the Dixie Chicks dropping Dixie. Now they're the Chicks. Like,
And
get the
isn't
fuck
Chick
out of
Really?
here.
like kind of,
Now here's a little bit more to it here. It says the trio said that in a company statement that White had asked for a $10 million payment. So we are sad to share that our sincere hope to join together with Anita White is okay. What you do is you don't take the name Lady A and you just don't
Right.
pay her. You take a different fucking name.
Right.
right.
So you
And like that scope, like in other words, it's kind of like I said in the pod on the one that aired tonight. Kanye isn't doing and saying what he's doing and saying in order to get record sales. Like
Right,
some
he's
people-
already
he
got
doesn't
that.
need to do that. Lady Antebellum is actually big enough and tours enough to where
they could pay her
They
$10
have-
million easily to change the name, and it would satisfy everybody because she has
Or
the
they could
name
just-
already.
a different name and everybody will
People
know.
would
it's,
still
it'll
follow
be a
them.
news story. Everybody will know who
Right.
they are.
That's so petty and stupid. I can't believe that.
Well,
Wow.
they shouldn't have changed their name in the first place because that's just a major virtue signal, white privilege virtue signaling bullshit.
yes.
Yeah. And then
yeah,
the
but they
fact that
talk
they.
about taking whitening and lightening out of makeup colors.
Yeah.
What?
I'm not kidding.
Like
Yeah.
whitening out of like Crest whitening strips. So what the fuck are we supposed to call it then?
Wait a minute. That's. So wait. You can't have white teeth anymore?
Thing.
Well, I mean, that's next though. It wouldn't surprise me a bit.
It's gonna be crest brightening strips.
That's
Brightening. No, crest darkening. Because dark lives matter.
Well, that's not even the worst of it. The worst of it is actually from the idea of whiteness. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard that. This is from a government-funded place, a black museum, African museum that actually gave the definition of whiteness as being polite, thinking of terms of cause and effect.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Number one, I thought it was the definition of white was like
A pale color?
no. I thought the definition of white was like evil,
Oh,
colonizer,
No, but-
rapist,
That
Well,
enslaver.
that's the definition they're teaching to our
But
kids.
they're saying like positive things.
Yes.
Oh, so this is a pandering thing. In other
No.
words, they're saying this is what white's defined as. Look at this. It's
science
you know.
and rationality and all these things and all these things that are really just fundamentals of how our society, how any society becomes successful. Oh, the nuclear family, of course, is the big one. Have you guys gone onto the?
We're
the
not so good at that anymore either.
Well, no, but that's great because Black Lives Matter on their actual website for one of their websites states about removing the nuclear family and getting, because it's not about Black Lives Matter, it's about Marxism and communism is basically what it is.
Thank you. That's precisely what it is.
It's really all about, so they want to destroy the nuclear family because they want children raised by the state so they can raise them and indoctrinate them, which they are almost right now because of public schools.
Yeah.
yeah.
They want people to be broken up from families because families give individuality, of course, is whiteness too. Because black people, they're all about community and.
It's tribal, yeah. It's a
Or
tribal.
I'm sorry, the BIPOC. Is it what is it called? The POC.
Some of people of color.
Yeah.
The BIPOC?
BIPOC.
Wait, what is BI?
Yeah, what's the BI?
Hold on, let me see. BIPOC. BIPOC.
I know POC is people of color, but I don't know what the bi stands for.
I mean, is it just bi?
It stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. The sovereign citizens we were talking about yesterday. Remember?
Black,
Hold on.
Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. And this is what I love about it. They like these people that use this term "people of color" like they're woke and awake. You're speaking about like 90% of the world.
Right.
We're all people of color. We all have a color.
Except Asians don't.
Right.
Asian don't count
Really
because they.
bothered by
Yeah.
okay, maybe I'm taking this wrong because I'm on the side of I'm worried that history is being erased.
It is being erased.
The way it has in places like Serbia and stuff like that. But you just said black indigenous. Now, black people are not indigenous to the United States.
No, they're not.
Right. They're the ones that run around screaming that too. So
I am very confused.
Well, so are they, apparently.
Yeah.
So this is a thing like this BIPOC. This is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Tupac fan, but I can't fuck with this BIPOC.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see death around the corner if you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but I am scared a little bit.
Oh,
I mean, it's one of these things where, like, I'm a hip hop artist, obviously. So it took me a minute. I'm not even gonna lie. It took me a minute to kind of openly share my political opinions. Kind of like Kanye, where at one point I felt like, on a much, much, much smaller level, I felt like, damn, if I don't say this shit, I know people personally who will never hear it from anyone.
Yeah.
I'm the only person, like, in this quote unquote hip hop community that is actually looking at things outside. I don't want to say outside the box, like outside of the indoctrination.
Well, there are a few. There's a few people out there like Zuby. If you've ever heard of Zuby, who's an artist, he's more of I don't know how he's Zuby, but you're right. Yeah, there's not a lot of that going on.
Especially not where we're at. I mean, Detroit, they want to jump on you to cancel you, quote unquote, very quickly here. That's just the way most of them are.
Well, let me ask you guys this: since you've been doing your podcast, sort of expressing these views, how have some of your, I guess, Facebook friends or followers that were, hip hop guys, have they given you any backlash? Fought with you a little bit?
Oh, I don't fuck with most people. He fucks with way more people.
To answer
than me.
that very simply,
I'm an asshole.
I ramble sometimes, so I'll make this answer different. Yes.
Yeah.
I figured.
But I'll say this: for every, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
For every 2 people that I find out were complete pieces of shit all along without me knowing it, I'll gain one really good one who shares some of the ideals that I have, for the right reasons, not for a political reason, because they have similar beliefs. They think it's good for people to move forward this certain way. So, I mean, for instance, like I'm talking to you guys now, you guys kind of have the same a type of view on things. So, the day that, today, just from talking to you, I probably lost 4 people, but I'll gain 2 that are better. I've had this conversation with many people I know who are kind of in the same thought realm as me, and I've had to sit there and basically tell them, like, no, it's okay. You won't lose everybody. Other people come around, and once all of this, I've had to literally sit there and coach them and tell them that things are going to be okay, and they'll get some of their loved ones back.
See, that's like
That's fucking crazy.
I'm a little more harsh when it comes to that stuff than he is. Actually, I'm just kind of like, you know what? We are fucking adults. We are not fucking little kids. All right, most of us have kids and raise kids. I don't give a motherfuck if you wanna, be like, oh fuck you, I don't like you anymore because you expressed your beliefs and blah blah blah. Well, fuck you then. I don't care. Go away. I didn't want to talk to you to begin with anyway. So if I gain somebody cool, that's great. But I really don't care if I don't.
I mean, me personally, it's like she said, like I try to be I don't know.
He's
I guess I care a
nicer
little
than I
more,
am.
which most people don't even know. Like they think it's the other way around.
Uh-huh.
But I will say this: like, as somebody who can actually spit, who actually has a plan for what I do, who's actually earned a position, I don't give a fuck about any of these dudes that don't fuck with me no more. Because real shit, they weren't gonna buy my projects anyway.
No.
They was gonna hang around and get handed a free one, or they're gonna get given a verse out of the kindness of my fucking heart on one of my projects. So what I'm saying is big picture, just like I always tell people locally who maybe have a slightly different style than what is pushed in Detroit. I tell them, dude, fuck Detroit. And I don't mean that in a totally disrespectful way. I mean that in a dismissive way. Like, you're never gonna, like, make it anywhere by earning the respect or following in Detroit.
People.
Nobody's ever made it out of, like, as far as out of Detroit, especially in hip hop. They've had to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
There is no scene here.
No.
There's
that
nothing. Like you could have Royce come back home sometime, but 50 people show up.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no real scene, and so like I don't give a shit about it. But there are a few where it did hurt a little bit because I'm like, man, like I've been through some shit with this person, and this is what's gonna bother them, and they haven't even asked me my full belief. They just know that mine aren't the same.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Family just not talking to other family members and just like making it's really heartbreaking in a lot of ways. By the way, just to correct something real quick, it's black, indigenous, and people of color. So basically, the indigenous.
Okay.
So I like, interestingly enough, I have real fucking Native American ancestry, the Eastern Cherokee, who basically went and started their own sovereign nation. I get in these debates with people, I gotta admit, if I don't feel like getting intellectual with somebody who isn't up to speed and who's just gonna aggravate me by adding me all day, I pull the Native American card, dude. Like I'm like, oh, okay, so yeah, you guys were, oh well, we were just all killed, so
Right.
here you go. 1,200 of us were left over, and that's where I come from.
Well, at least you're related to
Go
Elizabeth
back.
Warren, so.
To touch on that.
Oh man, fuck you for that.
Oh, Jesus. You said, though, a second ago about, family, like, blocking each other, not speaking to each other over differing beliefs and stuff. Like, that stuff does bother me, and that is one of the, main points of what a cult does, is isolating you from family,
Yeah, I'll let her talk
friends,
about the cult,
Yes.
completely cutting you off and isolating you from family and friends and, excommunicating, etc. And it's like, that is happening so much in our current society through social media and, just mass media, mainstream media being, projected, and people being like, okay, well, this is what I believe, and then posting about it, posting something as simple as a link or a comment or something, and then a family member seeing it and being like, oh, fuck you, you're a this, that, and the other, and then just not talking to each other anymore.
But here's the thing.
What the hell?
Yeah, here's the thing that's telling about it. It's never the conservatives who are going, you're going to vote for Biden? Oh, I'll never talk to you again. It's never the conservatives saying...
I never see that ever. Yeah, it's
You
usually
don't-
the other way around.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm kind of middle of the road, but it's always the fucking radical lefty
Yes.
people that are like, whoa, what the, you can't believe this. If you say all lives matter, then it's not these,
Right.
It's not the people on the conservative, because they just, because we know because I guess I could say I'm more conservative in that way, in that the people that are actually not buying into this understand that you can be tolerant. Tolerance is not acceptance. You don't have to love
Right,
something.
exactly.
Like, you can just say, you know what, I don't agree with your...
We agree to disagree, kind of thing.
Disagree, but I tolerate you because that's the whole point. Like, you have every right to say whatever you want, even if I don't agree with it. And I'm not going to
Right.
disown you because...
Oh, go ahead.
Did you know that that's a real liberal belief?
Yeah,
Like,
but
I was just
but
going to say that. I was just going to say that those are the people that are pushing tolerance all the time. You're not tolerant. You're intolerant. How many times? How many times
No,
that on their
Because
mouth?
they're not going to be tolerant of hate, and I guess we're full of hate.
oh yeah, we're just hate. Oh, and hatred personified.
Yeah.
Wow.
But just to disown the people that have loved you and have supported you in so many different ways for years, because of, and have shown you how good they are as people to you as an individual, and then they
Right.
go, well, that doesn't matter. You didn't believe in my politics. You're not an ally or whatever the.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Scary
having
shit.
that problem with my own father right now, to where, like, I have to make it known, I'm having a baby in a few weeks, and, like, he's coming here, and I have to make it a rule, like, do not open your motherfucking mouth about anything political or COVID-related when you're in my state, because I'm not having my family fight over stupid shit.
I
And my dad will do it, but we won't.
I will destroy your dad in a
That's what I mean, and I can't
I will
handle
Ben
that.
Shapiro his fucking ass.
I don't need that.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I don't know what's up with me. My nerves are bad and shit, so I'm not, forming complete thoughts. But
Oh, you're doing fine, man. You're doing fine.
He
Though.
always thinks he's off. He's
One
just,
guy that
you're
we're
not.
having a guy on probably in a couple weeks, a Minnyvan musician who was pretty much the local underground hip hop guy.
Yeah.
As far as radio goes, he had a radio show, and so much support and so much work for people with nothing in return.
Very big following.
And him just having a little bit of an open mind, basically saying the same thing that he's saying. He said the All Lives Matter thing, but the real issue was that he said, look, and I hope he wasn't, parroting me, because I'd feel a little guilty about that. But he was white people like cops too. It's happening in areas, just that it's happening to certain people. They don't have enough training. They're letting certain people in that shouldn't be there. This is a problem we could attack together. And what they took from that is
He's a racist.
Yeah, he's a racist. He was denying that black people are getting systematically killed off by police in the streets.
Which they're not. The statistics completely don't support that.
He basically had to leave the hip hop community. They all lost, not him. And now he's coming around to where he's going to do some other kind of radio or something like that. But this guy's got a history in hip hop, kind of like me, going back to the days when Eminem was just getting going.
People respected him a lot, and it's just
calling him Unk
crazy.
the day before, telling him they love him the day before.
It's crazy. A lot of these guys he's had on his show over the years multiple times, and expected nothing in return from them at all. And then it's all of a sudden just boom, fuck you, you're canceled. That's it. Nobody wants to hear you out.
Violent threats and shit.
I mean,
like
it's
that,
just it's insane. Something enough to make him walk away from something he's loved for a long time. It's
Not
crazy.
Awesome Dre by chance, is it?
What's that?
Not Awesome Dre by chance, is it?
No, this is a white guy.
No, it's a white dude. Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is a white dude, and the funny thing about it is the people that are so vehemently against him and were downright disrespectful to him, insulting him publicly, were, of course, the white dudes.
Yeah.
The white dudes that are basically sucking the dicks of the fucking, the guys that are around.
The kneelers.
The kneelers.
Yes.
Yeah. They take a knee. They take a knee for more than one reason.
Right.
They take both knees.
Exactly.
They go, Ian.
Ew. That sounded gross.
I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like, I've explained it on our shit where I'm just like, look, man, hip hop is supposed to be a little wiser than this. Hip hop has always been able to see, through the overplay. You know what I'm saying? Like that was our thing, and now it's just it's turned into. I think the problem is that hip hop became mainstream.
Yes.
So they're
mainstream media.
You know what I mean? Like so that's what happened. I mean, it became part of this horrible machine where hip hop was supposed to be kind of the outlier, kind of the rebel. Wait, am I allowed to say rebel anymore?
That's what I liked about it. Oh yeah, you can't say rebel. It's racist. Yeah, but no, that's what I
Is
like.
UNLV gonna change their name, dude? Wait, you're out there in Vegas. Is UNLV talking about changing the name of their team?
Shit, I haven't heard that. Have you, Cruise Control?
What's that? The
UNLV Rebels? Are they going to change their name now?
Oh my!
The Running Rebels.
That'd be ridiculous.
That'd be horrible if they did.
God.
They're
Oh,
rebel.
they probably will.
Their
mascot's
dude,
a rebel guy.
dude, did you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Well, Max, I don't know if you know what the name of the Washington Redskins is now.
This is their new name? What are they called now?
It's the Washington Football Team.
What?
That's what they're changing
Yeah.
it to? It is really? I didn't know that. I was waiting to hear that. Oh my God. Wow.
Washington Football Team? That's it?
Washington Football Team. Go team go.
Oh, that's horrible. I feel sorry for any Redskins fans, man.
You'll hear different from a lot of outlets, obviously, but when they did a real census on it, when they actually went and interviewed hundreds of Native American people,
They didn't want that.
I believe over 96% of them were fine with Redskins.
Yeah.
They had
the
no
Redskins-
issue with it.
They could have changed their mascot to a potato or something. That would have been better than the Washington Football Team.
Wow, the Washington something. What's Washington known for? Like their, I don't know, their apples?
There you go.
I mean, yeah. See, they couldn't do anything that had to do with, you know, the whole capital of the United States thing,
no,
because the whole
because
thing
we're
with
an
the
awful
U.S. now is I
country.
hate the U.S.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
The Washington football team.
Washington
Wow.
Jefferson, like,
Damn, that's like I almost have to do a triple take to make sure I heard that right. Like, really? The Washington football team?
Cherry trees.
The cherry trees. Oh, that's even better. God,
that's lame.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
it's better than
I watched a really interesting thing where Patrick Bet-David interviewed, I guess, the 6th grandson. He's like the last surviving one. He's written books and stuff. He's Thomas Jefferson's like 6th grandson or whatever that would be. And the dude is all for tearing down Jefferson's DC statue and putting one of Harriet Tubman there instead. And I'm like, you know what makes you a real piece of shit in this situation? You wouldn't fucking exist if it wasn't for that guy.
No shit.
You wouldn't be writing for anything. He's a terrible writer. I went objectively, and you know he's just a pandering piece of shit. So I mean, you only exist because of this. And I mean, let's just be honest. Back in those days, owning slaves was fucking normal for a dude that was successful. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Is it a good thing? No.
Right, but it was normal.
But that doesn't take away from the good that someone did in the context of the bad they were doing was considered fucking normal
at the time, right?
You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. It really bothers me, this whole, like, there's no common sense in it. I feel like we're just, before anything else, we're throwing our common sense out. And I'm just,
it goes back to the emotion. It goes back to being ruled by emotions. It's stoicism, the ability to cause and effect, to go, this is the reason. That's why we have people that think there's no biological sex any longer, which is ridiculous. Like, we don't have any people that
get me started.
We'll go off on that.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole either. But my point is that it's all these, because it sounds good and it makes you feel good. That's why you got people that saying being fat is not a physical, like, that's medically labeled. No. If being fat is not healthy, it's not a healthy thing to be. It's not.
Have you heard this new thing where what do they call it? It's medicalizing.
Yes,
I think.
Yes, that's what I meant. Medicalizing obesity.
And not just obesity, anything. Like, say a woman goes to a doctor, she thinks she's autistic. The doctor says, you're not autistic. She says, you're medicalizing me. And there's a woman who's a really big, powerful writer on the left who identifies basically as autistic. She does flapping in public from time to time just to show people she's autistic.
But not because she can't help doing it, but to actually make sure people know, because she doesn't do it actually herself normally, but she does it in public to let them know that thinks that she's
look.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a tard. Look, I really am. I'm a tard. You want to see me? I'll do some tard shit.
It's getting the point.
See the picture of me voting for Joe Biden? Look.
Can I, like, medicalize as, like, a horse and walk around and, like, you know, make neighing noises?
No, that would just be identifying.
Oh.
That would just be
Well, no. The new one now is called, age is...
Oh, I was going to go there. Age fluidity?
Age fluidity, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And you know what that is?
Of course.
It's so people can have sex with kids and make it okay.
My God.
Well, yeah. Well, now it's remember. It's not pedophilia. It's
or whatever the fuck. What is it called now?
It's minor attracted something like that. Like minor attracted person. MAPS. I'm not a pedophilia. I'm a minor attracted person. They call themselves MAPS.
Let's normalize pedophilia. You know, it's okay if you want to fuck little kids. Jesus.
Man. You know what's really interesting too? You know that there's powers that be behind all of this stuff that have a Marxist agenda or whatever agenda it is that they have. Because I'll tell you this: at one point, I worked for the company who basically supplied things for the trans community and had the most active. I moderated the most active message board in the country at the time for trans. Them, and I'll tell you this, they don't like this shit.
No, the real.
They don't
like.
dropped out there, man. Well, not really. You faded out, kind of.
You're fading out. It's like you're speaking away a little bit from the mic. I don't know what.
Yeah, that they don't like being the center of attention. They'll actually tell you that you know some of the negative statistics we'll bring up to get shot down and considered hatred. They're the first ones to speak those statistics. They're the first ones to say that they have a suicide problem in their community.
Yeah,
they're the first ones to say that this is a sexuality. Like, in other words, what I'm saying is that their whole agenda is being pushed by people who aren't them,
Right.
and they're not even happy.
Yeah.
You know,
Of course.
it's crazy.
yeah.
It's
I mean, it's like a person pushing me as a hip hop artist. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Right. Well, it's like people getting offended for you. You know, we deal with this all the time, being visually impaired. People try to, don't do that. You're making fun of it. You know, it's like, no, this is, you know, it's like the South Park episode. Remember when Timmy wanted to join the heavy metal band?
Yes.
Yeah.
Phil Collins was like, they're making fun of him. It's not right. So it's the same shit. Like, here comes this fucking white knighting asshole, I guess, you know, who's all of a sudden here defending somebody that he isn't, you know, and it's like, dude, how are you going to get offended for somebody else?
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
It's and a lot of those people, like you said, are realized because they understand it as as dysphoria. It's not a pleasant, lovely flower. I'm being me, yes, queen. It's really a fucking hard thing to deal with, which is like these people that are getting upset about not having, how they try to stop having trans people in the military, and like, oh, it's oppression. No, it's because they're about 20 to 30 more times at least to commit suicide, and if you add that to the fact that veterans are 10 to 20 times to, you know, you don't want people who are dealing with what gender they are fighting a war for you.
Oh,
It's common sense.
Fun.
It's common sense.
And not only that, but they're unstable to begin with. You know, if you think you're something you're not, cruise control, we've talked about this before. It's a mental illness because you want people to join your delusion with you. And you're like, no, homie, I'm not going to pretend you're female when you're got a beard and a ball sack and everything else.
Some people truly believe they are, and they don't feel comfortable. Those people are, and it's 0.3% of the population. Those people are real, and we have to acknowledge that they're real, and we have to acknowledge that they're people and treat them just like everybody else. But man, this whole springing up stuff about giving kids hormones, it can go. But the point,
the line.
That's where things get a little.
It's an
where I start using the term evil. I go beyond a political scope on that. I think that's pure
it's child
evil.
abuse. It's child abuse.
Yep.
It is.
That point.
I'm sorry.
Your body, I mean, your mind isn't even developed until your early 20s, number one. But I mean, they also have real stats out there that these people conditioning before they're 18 years old always regret it.
Yeah.
And then the ones who really regret it, well, you can't fool them because they killed themselves.
Right. It's
So,
terrible.
I mean, my kid at 4 years old, my oldest son, really truly thought he was fucking Superman. He jumped off some bleachers and fucked himself up pretty bad. They're talking about letting these kids choose a gender at that age when from moment to moment they think they're anything that pops into their fucking head. But that's when you really can't come back from.
And they don't.
Now you're the kid who is the girl. It's not good for them.
They don't know
terrible.
anything about sexuality yet at that age, and they shouldn't.
Oh, but they claim that it's not tied to sexuality.
Which
it's
is
just
bull.
gender. But then constantly all we hear about from these people is who and what they're fucking.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? Make up your fucking mind. Right? I mean, you know, but like Jordan Peterson said, I think it was him that said this. No, actually, no. I think it was one of the Weinsteins. I got to make sure I don't.
Yes,
say
Weinstein, not Weinstein.
Yeah,
He said that it was one of them guys said that this far left thing, this radical left thing, this identity politics will not because you'll begin to have infighting.
I'm sorry. Go repeat that again, man. You got some good points. I want to make sure we get them.
Basically, the identity politics is not going to last because you're creating too many subgroups, and they're going to begin to fight each other
Within.
for
They
level.
already are.
Right. So, blacks are like, dude, get the fuck away from our cause, trans people. And you know, it's just going to keep going like that. The gays are like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Like, we're talking about, you know, this issue. We don't want to be included in this other thing. So yeah, it can implode that way because you can't cater to 50 subgroups at the same time. It's impossible.
The clash of the victims.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a great name for
victimology.
Clash of the Victims.
Yeah, it's pretty
That
crazy.
should be like a song or something.
No, you wouldn't be able to monetize it. That's the damn show.
No,
But I mean, it's difficult for artists and stuff like that because I mean, I'm telling you, man, like for the last, I don't know, like 6 months or year that I've really I got serious about getting back into it. Every time I pen a fucking bar, I have to think about how it's going to be looked at. And I mean, it's crazy too, because the whole thing with like hip hop is that, you know, your clever MCs, your lyricists are going to have a lot of punchlines and stuff like that. And just a couple of years ago, the more disrespectful the punchline, the funnier and greater it was. I mean, you're never going to have another Andrew Dice Clay. You may never have another Eddie Murphy in his prime.
Right.
None of these things that got people through hard times and spawned these amazing careers and, you know, showed exactly where the mind could go. Like, I'm surprised that George Carlin wasn't fucking shot down for like the way he was. But I'm just saying that it's painful. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It stunts the human mind. I guess it's all part of the same thing.
Well, you know, those guys, there's still guys like us that like them. Matter of fact, Andrew Dice Clay, when things were open, was performing at the Tropicana Hotel on the last Friday of the month, I believe it was.
Oh, nice.
No, but I mean, like, if a dude came out now.
Oh, like a new guy.
That.
Yeah.
The new guy, yeah.
Yeah, there would be no new Andrew Dice Clay, is what I mean.
Right, that's true.
Jeselnik's as close as it comes, but I just mean that. Well, actually, you know what? His character would be okay. A Jewish guy playing up to every stereotype of an Italian would be fine. It would be. That would be just fine.
Right.
You know, and I want to say one point that's really fucking random that just popped into my head after saying that hopefully people will hear if they listen to this podcast. The Columbus Day thing, if you do a little bit of research, and honestly, Wiki's fucking changed their research since this became an issue with tearing down statues. Columbus Day was given to the Italians as a compensation, almost like an equity thing. 12 Italians were hung in Louisiana. I believe this was 1896. And so, you know, the Italians kind of, they were treated like, you know, what people called an N-word back then. I believe they used that word to describe them. They were treated as less than human. They were grouped together with people who were newly freed slaves, and if not anything else, treated worse. But anyway, what I'm getting at is 12 men hung, and I believe none of them were guilty of whatever they're being hung for. So the U.S. government gave a holiday, called it Columbus Day. They were pandering to them because they had an uprising, whatever it was. So anyway,
So
the Italians considered it Columbus Day. The fact that during those times they didn't really give a shit about Columbus because in their mind he discovered a place that was terrible to them. But they just considered it like a day where they studied their history, and it was, you know, basically Italian American Day.
So it was the Martin Luther King Day for Italians.
Pretty much.
Basically, yeah. And they never gave a shit about Columbus. Now later they did, you know, support Columbus, you know, when they had the Italian American League, did Colombo. That's a whole different thing, but you know, they did eventually support Columbus and stuff like that, but it was just as kind of a figurehead for Italians. Like, they knew all the negative about him. It was just like, hey, we're getting recognized. It was given to us as kind of a whatever, like a there you go, like a compensation, whatever.
Reparations, man.
And they Indigenous Peoples Day.
Indigenous Peoples Day.
And it's like, okay, so what happened to the Italians? Like, they don't matter anymore? Like, I mean, seriously, like, it's okay that you started Indigenous Peoples Day. That's fucking great. But, number one, the indigenous people that you're actually pandering to are not the people you're celebrating in the U.S. Columbus did nothing to Native Americans, number one. But number two, does the Italian American Day is there going to be one?
Nope.
They never even fucking said,
No,
like, you know
because-
what, we're going to consider giving something back to the Italians since we took
Because
it
you're
from
no
them.
longer Italian, you're no longer Irish, you're no longer Czechoslovakian and British like I am, or Lithuanian. You're just white. This
You're
is a-
white.
You're there's whites and there's people of color. You're no longer. There's just us and them now, I guess.
That's where they want it to go. Well, guys, this has been a very stimulating conversation.
Yes.
Probably the longest show we've done in a while.
That's what I feel like.
Man.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Anyway, yeah, it's been a great collaborating with you two. You guys are on Minivan Musician. Is that
What's your YouTube?
Is that the
people can
YouTube
check
channel name or?
It's actually youtube.com/Don Verb Street Hop. That's the actual name of the channel.
Okay.
But kind of, I guess you could say, like the branding or what we're doing a lot of stuff that's actually outside of the political stuff. Like this is kind of new. We're doing like we did a vancation last year, and we're about to do another one.
Oh, nice.
A bunch of stuff.
You go to like state parks and shit and review them. I just do squat soap. Like,
Why don't you guys just do like a national Van Poon vacation? Where you run around and all kinds of shit happens on the way to the
Van
Wally.
Poon.
That's
National
kind of
Van-
how our lives go anyway.
hey, baby,
It's just like
can I get
those
some
movies.
Van Poon?
No,
Look what I started.
Dude, Van Poon. That's when you get picked up you get dragged into a van on the side of the road in Portland by federal agents.
I am definitely Lady A-ing that name. I'm taking that shit back. I'm going to sue you for not giving it to me quick enough.
It just came out just now as I was sitting here talking to you guys. This is something new for me.
No, it's too late. It's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Let's get it. It's dragging me to court, man. Damn. Well, guys,
Sorry
thanks.
to rant so much, guys. It's just that I've been really irritated by this stuff. I went and did my little fishing thing tonight to try to calm down. It didn't fucking work. So I'm just, I'm still kind of venting this stuff because I feel like, I do it a little bit on our little podcast and stuff like that, but I feel like I'm not able to get into it enough.
people just think we're crazy and we're assholes, so they don't really listen much.
And I'm not at the level where I can do a long form conversation like a Rogan or something where I can actually get into the important parts. Stuff like that.
Sometimes, man, you just got to go full on asshole. We've interviewed a lot of hip hop people in the past, and now we've shifted our gears a little bit. Not saying we will never interview hip hop people, but we've interviewed a lot of law enforcement now, so we're kind of changing it up a little bit. And nobody's really come out and said we're fuck faces or given us too much trouble. I've had a few arguments on Facebook over other things I posted, but other than that, man, I mean, it's just don't be afraid of what your followers might say. Like you said, you even said, hey, you drop a bunch of assholes and you might get two really good ones that are very supportive.
I don't like most of the followers anyway. They all know that, so I don't care.
Yeah, she's the hateful one. I'm the one that tries to be the sweetheart, I guess, man.
Which is odd. Yeah.
I was the goon in the Detroit rap scene for fucking years, and it's just, I got to the point where I just, it becomes, I will say this is something I just want to say about hip-hop artists in general, guys that are my age and stuff like that. The reason why you get better content from older hip-hop artists, it isn't a whole like, oh, you just don't get it, that new style is great in its own way. No, you get better content from an older artist, and the reason why is because an older artist does not give a shit. We have a real job. We have other business ventures. We're not trying to please nobody and make no money. We're doing it because we love it. Now, if we get bigger or whatever the case may be, that's fine. But you're getting actual raw talent expressed from somebody who's, say, over 30 years old.
And drives a minivan.
Right. They're kind of mentally in the place where they're like, look, man, I'm never going to be, fucking Eminem. But I could be somebody on the level of like he's retired now, but a Joe Budden.
Sure.
I could be that, and I'll have freedom as well.
Yep.
That's the thing that's great. Like, I would rather be a Yellow Wolf than an Eminem all fucking day.
All day.
You know what I'm saying? Look what this shit does to these people who are bigger, what it does to them mentally. It almost never turns out well.
Yeah.
It almost never.
It's true.
So, I mean, I just wanted to ramble that real quick and use up you guys' fucking pod time to say something that wasn't political, that was about hip hop.
Oh, we appreciate you guys having us on, though.
For sure.
Absolutely.
It's coming on.
We'll see you guys. We'll keep in touch. So remember, it's Minnyvan Musicians. Also, you can check me this Saturday evening at Earthling Music on Facebook. Earthling Music. We're doing our show. It's a prehistoric theme this week, so join in. Last week was pirate theme. This week's prehistoric. We do musical improv comedy. Earthling Music on Facebook. Minnyvan Musicians, and also, of course, Nothing Sacred here. But I guess we'll wrap this up. So all four of us. So I am Cruise Control.
I'm Maxwell Silverhammer.
I'm Don fucking Verb.
Danielle, the evil one.
And that's the story there, bitches! Bitches!
We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With cruise control.